Your 401k plan could be funding the slaughter of people in Darfur.
It absolutely is funding the genocide.
Fox Undercover tracks millions of dollars from Africa back to one of Boston's biggest investment firms. Tonight after 24 on Fox 25 News at 10.
Thanks, Kev. It seems a world away, the Darfur region in Sudan in Africa. Hundreds of thousands of innocent people murdered, millions more driven from their homes.
But it really is not a world away. Your retirement savings may be bankrolling these mass killings. Investigative reporter Mike Bodette is asking, what's in your 401k?
What's happening in Darfur is genocide, and now the pressure is on businesses not to invest in other companies working in Sudan in hopes of stopping the deadly violence. Companies, pension plans, and mutual funds around the world are feeling the heat. The Massachusetts Coalition to Save Darfur is targeting Boston-based Fidelity Investments, which handles investments for 22 million Americans, including employees here at Fox. An estimated 400,000 Sudanese civilians have been killed in Darfur so far.
We hear story after story of armed men attacking defenseless women and children.
Unlike the Holocaust or Rwanda, the genocide in Darfur has been widely identified while it's still going on.
To the people of Darfur, you have suffered unspeakable violence. And my nation has called these atrocities what they are: genocide.
What's also been identified as the fuel, the financing behind this living nightmare. Fidelity Investments, which is based in Boston, is the largest shareholder in PetroChina and has holdings in Sinopec, two companies which run the Sudanese government's highly profitable oil export industry. Those profits are reportedly being used to buy the arms and ammunition used by the military and its militias to slaughter the people of Darfur in the name of national security. The two Chinese oil companies work for the Sudanese government in Khartoum. According to Yahoo Finance, Fidelity has 4.5 million shares of PetroChina, valued at almost $500 million. And where's that money come from? Some of it from you and many other Americans with a Fidelity 401k.
These two Chinese oil companies are operating in Sudan, and the government of Khartoum is getting all its income, all its state income is coming from this oil business.
Eric Cohen is the co-chair of the Massachusetts Coalition to Save Darfur, which is trying to convince Fidelity to pull its money out of the Chinese oil companies. Companies, he says, are funding the genocide.
They're providing the money, which is the lifeblood for the government of Sudan, and the results are dead people murdered in Darfur.
I lost my entire extended family from both sides, my father's siblings and parents, my mother's siblings and parents.
Sifa Sengimana lost loved ones in the genocide in Rwanda in the 1990s. Now she's involved with the Massachusetts Coalition to Save Darfur.
It is very troubling that a group of nationals are exterminating another group of nationals, that a government which is supposed to protect its citizens has chosen to eliminate one portion of its population. That is incredibly troubling. What is more troubling are these children, who are being smashed against walls, burnt alive, cut into pieces without knowing why.
What do you think about what Fidelity is doing?
What I do know is they have millions and millions of dollars in the wrong companies who are doing business with Sudan. It's fueling the genocide. The oil revenues, they go to Khartoum, they go to buy arms, they go to pay the Janjaweed, who are in turn killing the people of Darfur.
The coalition sent a series of letters to Fidelity executives asking for a meeting, urging them to consider divesting its holdings in the Chinese oil companies. Fidelity refused to meet with the group, instead responding with a letter that says in part, "While we certainly empathize with your concerns, we have a legal and fiduciary responsibility as an investment company to provide the highest possible returns to our customers. Fidelity portfolio managers make their investment decisions based on business and financial considerations and take into account other issues only if they materially impact these considerations or conflict with applicable legal standards."
We tried to get Fidelity to understand that there was something very serious here and that they should draw the line at genocide.
Fidelity doesn't want to deal with this.
No, they don't.
Sengimana says there are other ways Fidelity can make money.
You don't need to be in Sudan to make money for people. There are countless other places where this money can be invested. We need to starve the government of Sudan, which is basically a handful of people who are committing these crimes.
Many other major U.S. institutions have already divested from companies doing business in Sudan. It started with Harvard University in April 2005, after the school's advisory committee on shareholder responsibility studied the role of the Chinese oil companies. It concluded, "We believe the unique pattern of circumstances relating PetroChina to the crisis in Sudan counsels in favor of taking the extraordinary step of divestment." Is what's happening in Darfur genocide?
I don't think there's any question that genocide is underway in Darfur. It has all of the ingredients: mass murder, rape, and systematic ethnic cleansing as a way of destroying these groups.
Harvard professor Samantha Power won the Pulitzer Prize for A Problem from Hell, a book about genocide. She also won a National Magazine Award for an article on Darfur. Do you believe divestment can make a difference over there?
If anything is going to make Chinese government and Chinese business people think twice, it's divestment in this country that affects Chinese companies.
Fidelity says we're about making money. What do you think about that?
That's generally a decent premise, but there are some times when the circumstances are so exceptionally grave that that underlying premise has to give way. But this is a case where the U.S. State Department, for the first time in history, has issued a genocide finding. I'm sure there are lots of close calls, but surely we're on a clear-cut side of a pretty distinct line.
Fidelity's investment in the Chinese oil companies represents a tiny fraction of Fidelity's total investments. Fidelity declined our request for an interview, but gave us this statement: "We believe the resolution of complex social and political issues must be left to the appropriate authorities of the world that have the responsibility and the capability to address important matters of this type. And we would sincerely hope that they would do so wisely on behalf of all of the citizens of the world." One group that's tackling the issue is the Massachusetts legislature. There's a bill pending on Beacon Hill that would, among other things, order the state's pension fund to divest from any company demonstrating complicity in the Darfur genocide. California has already passed a similar measure. Do you have an idea for a Fox Undercover investigation? Call us at 1-800-TV-FOX25.